Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, the show that takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible.
Welcome to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. Hello, everybody. How is it going today? I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Happy Thursday. If you're listening to this on Thursday, welcome back to a brand new episode on how to live your life to its fullest and its happiest. I am super excited for today's episode, like I am pretty much every single episode, but today's episode is all about personal empowerment. I'm feeling pretty good today. I've been feeling pretty empowered lately. I've got, just some new kind of projects on the roll right now, and I've been really pushing myself to create opportunities and to reach those goals. So today I thought that I would talk about personal empowerment. I feel like empowerment is talked about often. There's a lot of woman empowerment that I think is so awesome, but today I want to give kind of a broad spectrum of empowerment by talking about kind of personal empowerment, because you guys know me, I strongly believe in becoming your own best friend and being able to push yourself and motivate yourself. I think self-motivation is so important, and I think personal empowerment is really, really important as well. We don't want to have to rely on other people to empower us. Let's empower ourselves so we can reach those goals for ourselves and go after those things. It's so awesome to have a support system. It's so important to have a support system as well, and your family and friends and the people that are close to you should definitely be empowering you as well, which I will talk about a little bit later on in today's episode. But I think having personal empowerment is a very crucial thing for reaching your goals and achieving all those things that you want out of life. So today's kind of all about how to live the most empowered life possible for yourself. This way you can always stay motivated. You can be reaching those goals, for you, by you, completely on your own. And I think that's so awesome. And there's nothing wrong with having help and support. And that's also really important as well, having a good support system. But at the end of the day, we want to be able to count on ourselves. We want to be able to trust ourselves and empower ourselves. So today's episode's all about personal empowerment. I'm super excited about it. So let me jump in. I have so much information to share with you today. I'm going to kind of talk about exactly what empowerment is, what exactly personal empowerment is. I'm actually going to go over why complaints are the perfect tool for achieving personal empowerment. And then as always, I will jump into kind of how to obtain personal empowerment. I have 6 steps that are pretty basic steps on personal empowerment, and then I will dive into some more tips and tricks about developing self-empowerment as well. Remember that, developing self-empowerment and going on this journey is in fact a journey. It is not a quick fix overnight, but there are things that we can do to ensure that we are, obtaining personal empowerment and that we are pushing ourselves forward. So lots of information to be shared with you today. I am super excited about it. It's going to be a good episode. So grab your notepad, a pen, if you want to start writing down some notes on all these things. I think personal empowerment can really, touch on so many aspects of our lives. And that's why I think it's such an important subject. So grab your notes if you're ready to write some stuff down. I got so much good information coming for you. So how can you, as an individual, live the most empowered life possible? And the short answer to that is by working. working your butt off. So work to make a significant difference in this world. Focus on what you can control, which is your hope, your attitude, your drive, your willingness to hustle, your commitment to keeping an objective and empowered mindset. If your individual life is empowered, it can only have an empowering impact on those who surround you as well. So personal empowerment means taking control of your life. People who are not empowered, they tend to lack control over what they do. And we talk a lot about what we can and cannot control. And through personal empowerment, we are creating opportunities for ourselves that we can control. So we can control more aspects of our life if we have personal empowerment. So people who don't have that personal empowerment, they do lack that control of what they do. They allow others to make decisions for them, whether that's a spouse, a partner, children, managers, your boss, a colleague. They often lack that confidence in themselves and their decisions, so then they rely on others. And we gotta rely on ourselves, right? We gotta be our own best friend. We have to be able to, to celebrate with ourselves and to pick ourselves back up and to keep moving forward from that self-motivation. So true personal empowerment requires you to set meaningful goals. Okay, that is a huge part of it, to set meaningful goals to identify what you want from life. And then you take action to achieve those goals and have more impact over the world around you. If you are somebody that you're like, I'm going to change the world one day, I'm going to change somebody's life, I believe you. And if you believe in yourself, I 110% believe in you. I think we have to believe in ourselves that we can be empowered. And then that energy, it starts to go over all aspects of our lives, and we start to impact the people around us and the situations that we're in, and we start to really make a difference. And, personal empowerment isn't just about your own personal goals, but I think it's also about achieving, that empowerment around you in the world, making that difference. And I think we all kind of want to make a little bit of a difference in the world, right? It's not just about ourselves, but it's about our surroundings, the people, the situations that we're in, making the world around us a better place by empowerment. And so if each individual is personally empowered and we all work together to empower each other and continue to power ourselves, beautiful things in our world will happen. You need to develop self-awareness. That is a huge step with personal empowerment, so that you understand your strengths and your weaknesses. I highly suggest making a list for yourself, making 2 columns, strengths and weaknesses, and writing those things down. This is not an easy thing to do, but through self-reflection and self-development, you will find your strengths and weaknesses, and admitting to especially your weaknesses is definitely not always easy, but it is a crucial step when it comes to personal empowerment and just personal development overall. I think we always need to do that self-reflection and write down those things, even though they might be tough to kind of put in front of you. But once you give yourself that perspective of, this is where I'm really strong, this is where I'm a little bit weaker, and you see those things right in front of your eyes, you're able to really, work on those weaknesses and use your strengths to keep moving you forward. And, somebody who wants to be who is personally empowered wants to work on their weaknesses. They want to make those things a strength for themselves. And we can't be good at everything. We can't do everything. It doesn't work like that, right? I'm really trying lately to not stretch myself so thin, because I find that I get so stressed out because I have so many projects on the go or so many commitments, because I have a problem saying no. I've been such a yes girl over the past year, and I spread myself too thin, and then I don't empower myself because I feel like I'm not able to give my 100% into each project because I have too much going on and I have a hard time focusing on one thing at a time. So I lose that personal empowerment because I'm stretching myself too thin. So, everything should be done in steps, and you should focus on one thing to the next. Like I've said before, take out your sticky notes and write that one thing that you need to focus on and put it on in front of you. Right now, I have a sticky note in front of me that says, record life and happiness episode today. And I'm staring at that with my computer and my microphone here, and it's just a reminder. I look up, and that's what I'm focusing on right now. I'm getting that done. And that is personal empowerment. Writing that sticky note, it's as simple as that, to remind myself, I got a goal today. I got to get this done by this time, and I got to focus on that one thing, and I got to give my best into today's episode. So I look at that sticky note, and it's a reminder for me that I only have one single thing to focus on right now. And that is delivering you guys the best life and happiness episode that I can to my ability today, right? So pick one thing, do that self-reflection, take it in steps. This is not something that you should rush through. Personal empowerment is going to take you time. It is a journey. It is a process, right? It's not something that we can just wake up one day and feel very empowered. There's so many things to it. So with that all being said, it's time for a little bit of a break, but don't you dare go anywhere, because when I get back, I have so much information to share with you. I am going to jump into why complaints are the perfect tools for achieving personal development. Then I will go over those 6 basic steps with personal empowerment. And then I will also jump into those more tips and tricks of how you can develop personal empowerment. So steps that you can take on throughout your journey and focus on one by one so that you can become so empowered by yourself that absolutely anything is possible. So stay tuned. I got so much coming for you. I will be right back.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast. Okay, we're back from the break. I am staring out my window right now as I record this, and it is snowing like crazy where I'm at right now. I hope the sun is shining and warm wherever you are. I honestly love the snow. I love the winter. I am such a winter baby. Well, I'm born in the summer, but I swear I'm a winter baby. I love it. I love it so much. But I'm staring out the window. The snow is falling. It's actually so beautiful out, but I know that's probably not the most popular opinion. So I do hope the sun is shining and beautiful wherever you are, or I hope the weather's just making you happy wherever you are, because the snow makes me happy. So I'm super, super satisfied being here. But anyways, with that all being said, let's get back to the episode. We're talking about personal empowerment today. One of the tips too that I want to give you is finding things that make you happy. As simple as the snow falling on the ground for me. That is something that I can look out the window and it brings a smile to my face. And when it comes to personal empowerment, it's also keeping that happiness up, that positivity level, that optimism, keeping a positive outlook on your surroundings. And I could have looked outside and be like, oh, it's gloomy, it's snowing, the sun's not shining. Or I can look at it in a different way and say, wow, it's so beautiful with all that white fluffy snow coming down on the ground in my backyard right now. It's so cool to see. So always find things that, that make you happy, that put a smile on your face, and fill your life with those things, because that will help empower you and move forward. Because when we feel happy and positive and optimistic, we really do tend to work harder, and we tend to be in a better mindset that allows us to empower ourselves even more. So focus on the good things. Focus on the things that make you happy. But now I do want to talk about a little bit about, why complaints are the perfect tools for achieving personal empowerment. So we all encounter complaints on a regular basis, okay? far more often than we fail to pursue them effectively though, right? So instead we typically complain about them for the sole purpose of venting our frustrations out, right? So for example, we feel so helpless and hopeless about resolving, our consumer complaints, that a staggering, 95% of consumer dissatisfactions actually go unresolved because we fail to complain effectively about them. So the same holds true for complaints in our personal lives. When we are frustrated or hurt by a friend or a loved one, somebody close to us, we discuss our complaint with a large number of other friends and loved ones and rarely with the original person. Isn't that true? Doesn't that put things into perspective for you? Or you're like, yeah, okay, I do that. I admit it. I do that. I think we're all guilty of that sometimes. So we are convinced that bringing up our complaints with the people responsible, whether they are friends and loved ones, or, whether it's a company or a business or anything that's frustrating us, whatever we have a complaint about, we think it will be more trouble than it's worth. So it will not lead to a satisfying resolution, and that it actually might take, away from it and make the situation worse. So, however, by pursuing a complaint successively, we can demonstrate our influence in our relationships or, a social context, and we can actually feel more capable and competent and empowered by standing up for what we believe in, what we think is right. So the process of empowerment is not a linear drive, right? It's not a linear drive towards stronger internal feelings of, efficiency and all that, but rather it's a dynamic process that we acquire knowledge throughout, right? So we have to take action. We have to assess our impact and we have to refine our efforts. So it is best to build slowly by pursuing those simpler complaints before tackling, maybe more meaningful dissatisfactions in our lives. So if you order something online and you are not satisfied with it, don't be that person that says, well, maybe I'll wear it once in a while. No, you got to call the company and say, look, I didn't order this size, or it came in the wrong color, or the quality, doesn't line up with your description online. You say it's this 100% nice silk or whatever the case is. If you have a complaint, don't just let it go by. Be empowered enough and be strong enough to say, look, I'm not satisfied with something that, I put the effort in or I put my money towards. Because each small complaint that we resolve along the way will create another building block upon which we can then build a stable and lasting sense of personal empowerment, as well as self-esteem and self-efficiency as well. Okay, so that makes sense. So don't just let your little complaints slide by, because those little complaints can actually make a huge difference in your empowerment. So now I want to jump into the 6 kind of basic steps of personal empowerment. Number 1 is identify a power-orientated goal. So the idea is to increase our level of influence at any level of social interaction, either with another person, a group, a system, a business, whatever the case is. So when you're pursuing a consumer complaint, we in essence are doing a battle with a business or a company or a corporation or an individual. Right? So winning the battle by attaining the result we want is actually a significant demonstration of our social influence. Because, if we are somebody that just says, whatever, complaint, move on, the next person's going to do that. Instead, you can, maybe write a review. I have this complaint about this product. So then the next person can go on and see those reviews and see that honest that you took that moment, that empowered moment to stand up for your right and what you believe in and stand up for that orientated goal. That's a powerful goal to make a difference in your life, even a small complaint. Now, I'm not saying be that person that complains about every single thing, but if a complaint does come up in your life, don't just let it kind of slide by. When we address a complaint to a friend or a loved one and it is resolved successfully, we are having an impact on a relationship that is both meaningful and highly significant to our lives. And that is empowerment. Number 2 is increase your knowledge. So your next step is to really understand more about the subject or the situation of your goal or whatever you're kind of going after. So for example, if you wish to have more influence over like your colleagues at your workplace, you need to understand the politics in the organization. You need to have a good understanding about that company that you're working for and their beliefs, their values, right? So to influence your family's holiday choices, you need to know what each person wants and who has the most influence at that moment. Maybe it's your mom that always gets to decide, what's happening, what tradition's doing, and what you're eating for dinner, right? So you got to understand people's wants so that you can influence them properly. Or same with like a business, your colleagues. You have to understand the beliefs, the values, the wants so that you are able to influence them properly. And that is empowerment. So increase your knowledge. Number 3 is increase your self-efficiency or belief that you can achieve. Okay, so before you take action, you need to believe that you can achieve it, right? Remember when I mentioned at the beginning of today's episode when I said, do you want to change the world? Do you believe in yourself that you can change the world? Well, then I believe in you because you believe in yourself. That is empowerment. So you have to believe that you can achieve. So knowing that you have the necessary information that can help push you forward. Understanding your strengths and your weaknesses will also help you understand where you are most likely to achieve and where you maybe need to put some extra work on, or maybe where you need to ask for some help. Because you want to achieve that goal so badly, but you need to be able to, sometimes we can't achieve something completely by ourselves. And that doesn't make you any less empowered, but it makes you actually strong to being able to ask for help. That's empowerment in itself, just like, saying your rights for a complaint that you have about a product or a subject or a dissatisfaction in your life, right? We have to still be able to make sure that we understand our strengths and our weaknesses and ask for help where it's necessary. That is empowerment. Number 4 is increase your skills and your competence. So you may need to improve your skills to become more influential. If you really want to change the world, or you're really passionate about mental health, or you're really passionate about, the LGBTQ community or any kind of thing like that, or maybe Black Lives Matter or something like that, you need to make sure that you have those skills to be influential on that subject. You have that knowledge and that skill to do so. As you start to talk to people more often and you try to influence them, you will rapidly learn what works, and then that will help you develop your skills as well. So talk to people, read a book, get out there in your community and have a conversation with somebody that you also know is really passionate about Black Lives Matter, or is really passionate about mental health or the LGBTQ community, or whatever subject that you want to influence people on, that you want to empower yourself and others on. Talk to somebody else that's also interested in that subject and develop your skills and your knowledge from that. Number 5 is take action and keep taking action. You can't just do one step forward and then kind of let everything just like fall into place. It doesn't work like that. You got to keep moving forward and got to keep making big actions, right? Small and big. So personal empowerment means not being knocked back, by that first problem that we encounter, but actually having the resilience and the persistence to keep going and seek other ways to achieve your goals. Does that make sense? So make sure that you are resilient. Build that resilience. I have an entire episode on resilience. You can head on over. It's honestly probably in the past few weeks here, I actually did an episode on resilience, I want to say. I can try to find that number for you and put it on our social media so to kind of go along with today's episode, because resilience is a really big part of personal empowerment. So definitely check out that episode so how you can build that resilience for you in your life. And now number 6 is assess your impact. So empowerment is about changing the impact that you have on others and on events, and it is therefore important to assess your impact, right? So at first, you may not see much change, but even the smallest changes count as a success. I always say we have to make sure we celebrate all small and big victories, because they're all victories. They're all little successes, and they're all very important. All right, it's time for another break, but don't go anywhere. I'm going to round off today's episode with some awesome tips on developing self-empowerment a little bit more. Those were kind of like the 6 major steps. And now I'm going to talk about some like habits and things that you can slowly incorporate into your life to help you develop that self-empowerment. So lots of information to be shared, lots of important information to be shared. So don't go anywhere. I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast. Okay, we're on the last stretch of today's episode. Here we go. Let's round off today's episode with some self-empowerment developing kind of techniques here that we can incorporate into our daily lives. Just some habits and just, kind of mindsets and things to think about to help you develop that self-empowerment that I've been talking about all episode. So, number 1 is being open to possibilities. There is no such thing as a doomsday unless you believe in it. Okay, you have the power and the responsibility to find that place inside of yourself where everything is possible. So the more open you are to possibility, the more creative you become and the more expansive of a world you actually create for yourself to succeed in. If you live, with a hopeless, angry, or kind of defeated attitude, then that's what you're going to be living in. So negative minds are closed minds. Closed minds simply, they refuse to see what is available, what's in front of them, right? So they overfocus on what isn't right and what isn't happening and on the lack of opportunity. So why would you choose to live that way, right? Like, life is a direct reflection of our beliefs. So if you want a better outcome, create it. Your opportunities for new hope and change are boundless, and it all actually starts within you. So you have to be open to possibility, have that open mindset, and go after those things. Create the world that you can succeed in. You have that power to do so. Focus on who you are, okay? So things are going to happen that you don't like. Life and success, they're built around things that are very unfair. There is much that you will encounter that is not right, that is unjust, that is incorrect. But you need to focus on who you want to be in response to those challenges. People get into high positions without the right to be there. But you are totally capable of rising up to those things, that defy that logic. Without the things that defy logic, you would never come to know so deeply what you stand for, what you value, how powerful you truly are. So when you shift your focus onto yourself and wholeheartedly and, non-violently live your answers, it is then that you are living a life of true authenticity and significance. So focus on who you are. How do you want to respond to life's obstacles that are thrown at you, to those challenges that are presented towards you? Right? Does that make sense? Run your own race, okay? So another person's success does not someone else being successful doesn't make you a failure. Does that make sense? It is your life, so you can focus on your own race. Instead of worrying about the competition, focus on, what is directly in front of you. If you worry about the competition, what they are and what they aren't doing, then you actually lose track of the importance of what you're doing. Empowerment has nothing to do with competition. It has everything to do with contribution. Trust yourself. Trust that you have what it takes to get the job done. Trust, empowers you to move aggressively towards your goals. If you spend your time doubting your skills, the only thing you will be actively perfecting is your ability to doubt yourself. Self-doubt is a killer of success, okay? Your actions follow your thoughts, so shift all that time focusing on doubting yourself and shift it into believing in yourself. If you can dream something up, then it is in the realm of your possibility to make it happen, okay? You must show yourself that you have what it takes to be resourceful. When it goes for, reaching your goals, you got to learn to trust yourself the most deeply, thought through, by taking those calculated action-driven risks. Taking risks is empowerment, and being able to trust yourself to take those risks is so, so important. So the more successful you become in taking risks, the easier it becomes and the more able you are to discern when your instincts are on and when they're not. Okay, so this empowers you to make better decisions. My next one for you is network. So to empower yourself, collaborate, don't compete. Like I mentioned before, it's not about the competition, it's about the contribution. Success is never a one-man job. Do not be afraid to ask for help. One of the smartest ways to move your mission forward is to actually network with other people. Like I mentioned, go out and expand your knowledge by talking to other people that are also empowered by that subject. Gather a team of people who have, strengths to fill in where you have weaknesses. So this allows you to delegate out to those who can best help you reach your goals, right? Collaboration is about inclusion. In collaborative environments, success is actually shared. So it is people empowering other people. And when you can empower other people, you're also developing personal empowerment. There is nothing more, bonding to a team of people than the team effort that produce the successful result. So when you compete, you create division, you create hatred, jealousy, anger, and none of those are going to help you build those relationships that are designed to help you become more successful. And that will never help you be empowered by holding on to that jealousy and that hatred and that anger and that competition, right? My next thing for you is love what you do. Passion will always trump failure. Always. Love is the most powerful of all of the emotions and is truly what empowers people to work in the careers that they love. So most will do almost anything for love, right? Love is so powerful. There is nothing that can get in your way when you want something badly enough that you are willing to do anything to get it. So unexpected circumstances may knock you back or redirect you a little bit along your path, but it will not have the power to take away from your goal. When you are deeply passionate about what you are doing and what you want, and you are in love with that passion, there is nothing that will stand in your way, okay? Work doesn't feel like work when you're passionate about it, right? It becomes more personal. And when you love what you do, fears you may have of not succeeding will be outdone by that passion that you have to never let failing be an option. Hold yourself with grace. Success of any type will attract haters, always. So what are you going to do with that? You have to use grace. If they go low, you go high or you remain silent, okay? So give grace not to them, but because acting with grace says something empowering about you. How you respond to people's hatred and negativity says something about you, okay? Be empowered by your response. Do it with grace, okay? Because that is empowerment. Have the self-discipline to have composure when it's face-to-face with those haters. The one sure thing about haters is that they hate you only until they want to be a part of what you're doing. So they can say, that they knew you. They can piggyback onto your success. So let them say whatever they want. You stay the course on the road that's less traveled, and that is empowerment. Embrace those imperfect moments because we will all have them. The most empowered path to success comes through your experiences of failure. There was a famous quote from Mary Tyler Moore, and they say, "You can't be brave if you've only had wonderful things happen to you." Empowerment is most deeply cultivated during times of challenge, okay? So failure and uncertainty are necessary structures for you to bump up against the development of your own refinement, okay? So without failure, you would have nothing to improve upon. So choose to evolve rather than dissolve under pressure. Your imperfect moments are actually going to provide you the perfect kind of base foundation for your growth up that mountain of your success that you're constantly climbing. So to live an empowered life of, great significance, you got to be open to those possibilities, to cooperation, to education, to success, and understanding that success is not a one-man job. Love what you do so deeply that you are able to include others in your dream and empower them in your success. Love what you do so deeply that there will be no roadblock or hardship that will take you away from your desired direction. Empowerment means that you don't crumble under failure. You make the conscious choice to grow from that pressure and you evolve yourself to that next level. That's personal empowerment. All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo, and I don't know about you, but I'm feeling super empowered after talking about all of this self-empowerment today. So I hope this kind of inspired you to get out there, go after your goals, and develop that personal empowerment, because it will really help you reach those mountains. So thank you so much for listening. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button. I got new episodes out every single Monday and Thursday. Head over to our social media pages, give those a like and a follow. And as always, do not forget to leave a 5-star review. Thank you so much for being here. It means the absolute world to me. I can't wait to share more awesome information of how to live your life to its fullest and its happiest on the next episode. Thank you so much. Stay happy, stay positive, and be empowered. Thank you. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find the show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows. From the GSMC Podcast Network, from sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast.